going to space on a reusable rocket. John Carmack was competing for that. Did you know that?
Yes, I did.
So like, inspired him. They're doing some cancer X Prizes. There's one that's going on right now called the Wildfire X Prize, which is basically challenging companies to build a system that can detect wildfires anywhere on the planet in less than a minute from space, and then deploy autonomous drones to extinguish them before they get large enough that they turn into a real wildfire. The idea is like, instead of responding to fires once they're too big to control, you're able to stop them in their tracks. And I mean, just like the Palisades fire created $20 billion in damage, it's actually very cheap to do this relative to the damage that wildfires cause. Anyway, the X Prize guys came to me a while back, and we were jamming on a few ideas for their next X Prize. And I hopefully they don't mind me saying this, but initially I said you guys should do an Uplift X Prize. Are you familiar with Uplift, the science fiction concept?
No.
It's fallen out of favor. It was really popular for a while. There was an Uplift trilogy written by, I can't remember the guy's name, but it was he wrote a whole book about non-human consciousnesses. Like there were in his book, there's like plasma consciousnesses in the sun. Like you probably heard these crazy ideas of like intelligent beings that live in the sun. But one of the main thrust of Uplift is taking species that are not sentient and lifting them up to the level of sentience and beyond. So like, can you take a dog and teach it to talk by genetically modifying it to make it smarter? Can you take whales and pass them up? And by the way, the Uplift trilogy, they also explored this idea, like Star Trek, of the whales having an oral tradition that was more stable than humanity's, and actually having like a lot of information that was concealed from man until they uplifted those species. And I've always thought that was really interesting. And so I went to the X Prize and said, I want you guys to do an Uplift X Prize. First person to modify an animal to be smarter than a person. And they actually said, that's too crazy. That's X Prize is trying to push the future, but for a variety of honestly quite good reasons. They said this is not quite our jam. But one we are working towards is an Interspecies Communication X Prize. And it's a prize and I think that with modern AI advances, this is going to be a lot more possible to gather large amounts of data, reason about it, and figure out the vocabulary and grammar of these species.